I mentioned before that I was in a communal living arrangement while I was living in the U District. And it was co-ed. It was, mask and femme, etc. So we had like this rack that we put clothes on, and people could just get clothes. I'm sure you know how it works. I mean, the few places that I've lived in have had like a rack or a shelf where people leave stuff, like a community rack or shelf. And the place I'm in right now actually has a community room and a lobby where people do this type of thing. So I'm hanging shirts on this rack one day, and I have a few of the shirts on a table in front of me. I'm putting them on hangers. This guy pulls a shirt off the rack, and he taps me on the arm. And it was like bare skin, him tapping me on the arm. I think. I don't remember. I mean, I hope it wasn't. There's a recent instance where a guy, stroked my upper arm. And I can't recall, but I know that there's been at least one time that the guy I'm thinking of from way back unwantedly touched me. This time, when I was hanging the clothes, I can't remember if he touched my bare skin. I hope not. But he touched me, and it was to ask, is this a men's or women's shirt, something like that. He might have said, is this a guy's shirt or a girl's shirt? Oddly, I don't remember exactly what he said, but I remember it was a gray tank top that he was holding. So he tapped me, and he goes, is this a guy or a girl's shirt? Or whatever he said, But I wigged out right there. I started screaming, why did you touch me? 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 I don't know. I don't think it was quite that many times. It seemed like I had stood there screaming forever, but it was a pretty big space, so I just kind of ran. I don't remember where I went. Probably one of the bathrooms. They actually had single stall bathrooms, so that would have been a good place. I don't remember if that's what I did, though. The head staff, the executive director, was actually there when this happened. She had just been visiting, so she saw the whole thing, and she came up, to see what was happening, and the staff just kind of separated me and the guy who touched me. But just a few weeks after that, a staff who had at least heard about it, I can't remember if the staff was there when the incident with the touching happened, but I know how they talk, so I know he had heard about it. And just a few weeks after that incident, the staff actually came up and touched me, and this time I remember it was on my forearm. And he did touch my bare skin, and he said something like, hey, while he was touching me. I don't really remember exactly what else was happening besides that. He might have just been saying, hey, Merry Christmas or something. If I remember, we had a brief discussion about Christmas, so it was probably something like that. But these were all instances that happened around the time I had a clinician named C. She was Indian. She was a really pretty Indian clinician. She was maybe just a few years older than me when this happened. I'm talking about I was high school, college when all this was happening. She was an intern graduating college, I think, so she was older. Yeah, even during our meetings once, she was like, you're beautiful. She said some other things. I don't really need to go into too much detail and sound like I'm really, talking, just kind of, oh, I don't need to go into all that. But she goes, you're beautiful. And she said it more than once. And if I recall, it was during more than one meeting. So, I mean, it might actually be in my file. I'm still going to the place where this happened. They've kind of rebranded since, but they're still, the same locations and stuff. I'm going to a different location than where this happened. This happened in Bellevue, Washington. I go to a location here in Seattle now. Uh, so it might actually be in my file at a place where I'm receiving treatment that a clinician there said I was beautiful. And all this stuff happening is kind of how I realized that, I'm never going to be free from this unwanted touching. I'll never get away from it. It won't stop. And it hasn't. So there's nothing I can do except, try to live with knowing it's a possibility every day. And there's just so much damage from the instances of it that have already occurred. So that's the place I'm in right now. I'm not too happy with what else has been going on here. I'm getting some skin irritation, but I'm kind of liking how my face looks swollen. I'm always talking about how I like fat cheeks, and mine are looking especially round at the moment, which I'm liking. And I hope people are finding things to like about themselves. Bye.